Good afternoon. I'm still reporting on Julian Assange. Julian Assange is alive. However, his internet access has been cut off by the Ecuadorian government. How do we know? Because he just did his first ever telephone interview by calling into the International Conference of Free Software, meeting in Argentina 6 days ago. This is one of the most fascinating interviews I've ever listened to, and recommend that you listen to the entire thing. And that's coming from a guy who never listens to lengthy anything. In fact, I'm going to cut this up into several parts because the little segments can stand by themselves, and all of it is so important. Here we go.
Are the translators ready?
Okay, we'll try and do this. So this is the first time that I have spoken to people outside the embassy since my internet was cut off. It's a bit unusual for me to be trying to do a talk by telephone, but I like a challenge, so we're going to try and do it. So first of all, thank you to the Computers Workers Union who've put this event together and organized it. I see that quite a lot of universities are involved in Argentina, and there's some interesting people here. It's quite nice to see actually such support for the free software movement and for ideals that I have fought for a long time by the government of Argentina and other institutions within Argentina.
Please, Julian, give us just a minute to explain to the public here what is happening exactly. Could you give us a minute?
Okay, well,
thanks.
First of all, let me just introduce myself.
Okay. Go ahead.
My name is Julian Assange. I'm the editor and founder and publisher of WikiLeaks. I have a technical training. I taught myself to program when I was 13 and became a computer hacker or explorer of the world when I was quite young from Australia, and then developed a lot of free software in different projects and became a system administrator and started my own internet service in Australia and writing cryptography programs to protect people and their privacy from spying, and wrote some books about that type of thing, and studied the National Security Agency, and eventually I studied theoretical physics and decided that actually I wanted to try and bring about more education and justice in the world, and that
For some reason, this fascinating personal story part was cut here. There are many technical glitches in the original, including an odd 60-cycle hum, which you'll hear introduced at spots. It could be accidental, but it could also be courtesy of disruption operations of your nearest favorite spy agency. The recording jumps back in with Assange talking about the Democrat primary campaign between crooked Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders.
Democratic primary election between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders principally had been rigged.
The word Assange just used was rigged. Let's hear it again.
Democratic primary election between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders principally had been rigged in favor of Hillary Clinton by the committee that runs the US Democratic Party in many different ways, including pushing out fake stories that Bernie Sanders supporters were trying to organize violence, making sure that more of the money went to Hillary Clinton, and so on. When we released those 20,000 emails, we did it in a way which we've become famous for, which is to make a special customized search engine to search them. It's actually quite hard to make a search engine to display and search through email because there's so many broken mail standards and mail programs. So it's quite a lot of work, and it encouraged all the people in the United States and some outside the United States who were interested in the election to sort through them. So this punched a hole in the media censorship that exists in the United States, where 4 of the 5 top TV networks and about 8 of the 9 major publications in the United States are biased in favor of Hillary Clinton.
And there you have it, laid out as plain truth. 4 of the 5 major TV networks in the U.S. and 8 of the 9 major publications are biased in favor of Hillary Clinton.
So in response, there was many attacks, and the U.S. D.C. establishment, which believes that Hillary Clinton will be the winner of the election, tried to find different ways to distract from our publication. They, first of all, tried to say that we supported Donald Trump just because we were criticizing Hillary Clinton. Then they tried to say that actually we were secretly working with Russia to publish this material that was criticizing her, and this was some kind of cyber warfare against the United States.
Incidentally, yesterday's New York Times reported that the FBI has spent all summer investigating similar allegations made by crooked Hillary Clinton that Donald Trump is connected to the Russian government. However, the FBI found no conclusive or direct link between Mr. Trump and the Russian government, and no evidence has emerged that would link him or anyone else in his business or political circle directly to Russian election operations. Now back to Assange.
But I have learned from a lot of experience that the best way to deal with these attacks is that you never flinch, you never blink, you just keep on publishing, because every day that you publish is a day that you have the initiative in the conflict. So we continued on publishing the emails of Hillary Clinton's chief campaign manager, which are even more politically interesting than the emails of the Democratic National Committee. I had been exploring what was the connection between Hillary Clinton and her campaign manager and the sale of 20% of all the U.S. uranium to Russia through a company in the United States called Joule Limited. And that was very interesting, and we showed that Clinton's campaign manager had been lying about his investments in this nuclear energy company, and he was very closely connected with a big Canadian mining magnate, and that he had 75,000 shares in his company, and then he moved it into another company secretly controlled by his daughter, and so on. But much more important was that in the investigation we managed to get hold of more than 50,000 emails related to Hillary Clinton's chief campaign manager, John Podesta. So this time we started a different strategy, which was to write an algorithm called the stochastic terminator, which is designed to be unpredictable and to adjust how much it publishes and what it selects based upon what we as human beings suggest to it, but also based upon what it reads in the news. And so it selects the emails to be published and publishes them each day, and we started doing that on the 7th of October. And this really whipped up a crazed hornet's nest atmosphere in the Hillary Clinton campaign and in all the establishments that are backing her. Now, we always had the analysis that Hillary Clinton will win for sure. We've had that analysis from more than 12 months ago. But she has pulled around her every single establishment in the US, the intelligence agencies, the neoconservatives who started the Iraq War, the weapons manufacturers, the big banks and investment companies like Goldman Sachs, most of the middle class, and most of the media. And so now we have all these people, all these establishments trying to defend Hillary Clinton from being exposed as having many corrupt relationships.
Now, Assange lays out in simple terms that it is really the Clinton organization which has direct financial ties to Russian oligarchs through the Uranium One deal, where 20% of U.S. raw uranium mining is now controlled by a front company which Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta, owns a substantial percentage of. You've seen this tactic that crooked Hillary has used time and time again during this election cycle. It's directly out of the Liars Club Manual, Chapter 147. Blame the other guy of what you are really guilty of, so it essentially becomes a wash in the end because people don't know who to believe. For example, crooked Hillary feared that Bill Clinton's sex crimes of the past would be used by Trump, so they manufactured a group of fake sex crime allegations against Trump to neutralize that issue. And guess what? It has worked fairly well. Now they feared the Uranium One deal would come out, so they started alleging that it was Trump who had a dangerous fascination with Putin, merely because Trump wants to normalize relations with Russia. It works because only a small percentage of the people have time to look into the deception in sufficient depth to uncover it.
So they started attacking our servers with denial of service attacks and attempted hacking attacks. There was and there is a amazing ongoing campaign where fake documents were put in the UN and in the British courts to accuse me of being both a Russian spy and a pedophile and a molester of children. You can look up that amazing story that we tracked down how this hoax was made at the UN and in the British courts to call me a Russian spy and a pedophile by a front company in the United States, in Texas, called Todd and Claire.
We'll go back to Assange in part 2. Good afternoon. I'm still reporting on Julian Assange. Julian Assange is alive. However, his internet access has been cut off by the Ecuadorian government. How do we know? Because he just did his first ever telephone interview by calling into the International Conference of Free Software, meeting in...
fought for a long time by the government of Argentina and other institutions within Argentina.
Please, Julian, give us just a minute to explain to the public here what is happening exactly. Could you give us a minute?
Okay, well,
thanks.
First of all, let me just introduce myself.
Argentina 6 days ago. This is one of the most fascinating interviews I've ever listened to, and recommend that you listen to the entire thing. And that's coming from a guy who never listens to lengthy anything. In fact, I'm going to cut this up into several parts because the little segments can stand by themselves, and all of it is so important. Here we go.
Are the translators ready?
Okay, we'll try and do this. So this is the first time that I have spoken to people outside the embassy since my internet was cut off. It's a bit unusual for me to be trying to do a talk by telephone, but I like a challenge, so we're going to try and do it. First of all, thank you to the Computers Workers Union who've put this event together and organized it. I see that quite a lot of universities are involved in Argentina, and there's some interesting people here. It's quite nice to see actually such support for the free software movement and for ideals that I have